Hey guys, what is going on? It is Brook. As you may have guessed, I am also known as the Undead DM. And in this little rant, it's a combination of a follow-up and a minor response to another video. If I find the video specifically, I will link it in the description at a later point. But as of this recording, I could not remember which video it is off the top of my head. But this video is going to be about how marshals work. I know, pretty standard around here nowadays. But in this episode, it's going to be specifically about the extra attack feature, and how I think if implemented in a different way than just an extra attack, can be a very effective way to give marshals more power. So, an excellent example of what I think would be a good way to implement the extra attack feature without directly giving the character or giving the class the extra attack feature as per name would be something akin to what Fade Shock did of Foxtail Foundry with his monk rework. Link in the description whenever I get around to editing this, or whenever I get around to uploading this. In there, he changed Flurry of Blows from being a key-based ability to just being the monk's version of extra attack, in a sense, where whenever you take the attack action, you can make 2 attacks as long as they are unarmed strikes or monk weapons. I believe that's how he worded it. But in addition to that, if both of the attacks hit, or both of the attacks are unarmed strikes, you can make 2 additional unarmed strikes as a bonus action. So, and this is at level 1. So at level 1, you get 2 attacks and 2 additional attacks as a bonus action without expending a feat or having to wait till level 5 to get it. And at level 5, he just gave them something else as opposed to the extra attack feature, and he also gave the monk, like people like me and Cybrock have been saying, you need to give them features like maneuvers. And so he gave them maneuvers in the form of combo systems. Now, what does that mean for us? Well, I would recommend if you plan on working with marshals, and specifically martial reworks, particularly the barbarian, the monk, the fighter, and the rogue, and to an extent the paladin and the ranger, since they also get the extra attack feature, make the extra attack feature a part of the base class in a way that isn't just a sole class feature. Because as of right now, at level 5, a lot of these classes, except for the rogue, get just the extra attack feature. That's it. They don't get anything else. And getting to essentially double your damage per round sounds nice, but when you think about it, at the same level, casters are doing it similarly, but they also have the added benefit to be able to cast more powerful spells as per the bonus action spellcasting rule, where if they just take 2 levels in Sorcerer, or 3 levels in Sorcerer, or they take the Metamagic Adept feat, they could just take the Quicken Spell Metamagic and cast a Fireball as a bonus action, and then use their action to cast a cantrip that now does similar damage to your attack. Especially if they have potent spellcasting where they add their ability modifier to the damage. So now they're dealing equal, if not slightly more damage than you, and they never actually have to get in range to do it. So marshals need to be strong at the ranges that they're meant to be. So here's my idea. I've essentially just taken what Fade Shock did with the monk and put it into my own monk and gave them Flurry of Blows as a free feature and upgraded it at the same point because I feel like that is a very good sense of progression, since you get 4 attacks at level 1, and then, or 3 attacks at level 1, and at level 10 you get an additional attack on your unarmed strike. So that's my mistake. You actually get to make an unarmed strike as a bonus action attack, and then at level 10 you can make 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action. My mistake. And that's kind of what I've done. And as for the Barbarian, I'm going to tie the extra attack feature in with the rage feature, as opposed to it being a Barbarian subclass reliant ability like the Berserker where they get a bonus action attack. I'm going to tie it instead to the rage and the fury mechanic, where you can just do extra attacks at the expense of something, but you never actually have to expend more than a single action or bonus action to do it. And fighters, I think they might be the only class that doesn't benefit and benefits from the extra attack feature at the same time, because Action Surge is so powerful as a baseline feature that it doesn't specify you can't spellcast with it, that it is innately extremely strong. However, with the changes to the multi-classing rules, like I explained in my previous video, it kind of mitigates that by not allowing spellcasters to really multi-class into the fighter so effectively, because they have to expend a feat, which they don't usually get until level 4 unless they use a variant human or any other, or a custom lineage where they get a feat at level 1, but that's neither here nor there. We're not discussing that right now. Regardless, I think fighter benefits from the extra attack because they get a lot more DPR because they're making more attacks. But at the same time, if a warlock takes 1 level, 2 levels into fighter and gets Action Surge, they can just bonus action cast Eldritch Blast using the Quicken Spell meta magic, and then action cast Eldritch Blast again, and then Action Surge, and then action cast it again. Because the bonus action spellcasting rule only applies if you cast a spell as a bonus action, and you can only cast cantrips as your action. So since Eldritch Blast is a cantrip, and meta magic, the Quicken Spell meta magic doesn't say it has to be a leveled spell, as far as I remember. If I'm incorrect, please leave a comment telling me I am. But that means they can get more damage out of that multi-class and out of that feature than a baseline fighter would, just on average. So I would recommend tying the extra attack feature to something else and giving them different abilities at the levels where they would normally gain those extra attacks. Make the Action Surge more, I wouldn't say more potent, but more focused on the actual attacks that the fighter can do, or the maneuvers that they're going to be able to do, because like I said in my previous video, fighters should have maneuvers as a baseline feature. So maybe make the Action Surge allow you to get your maneuver resource back, and in my instance it's going to be stamina. Same with the second wind feature. Make it so that they can use more than one of them in a turn, more than 2 possibly. Basically tie the ability to use the resource that you are going to give the marshals to the extra attack feature, but don't give them the extra attack feature as a baseline, because spellcasters can't really do an extra attack as it is. So if you tie their maneuvers into the attacks, then you kind of are in a catch-22 where you only have one attack and then a bonus action to do nothing with, and so you have to give them extra attacks. But if you tie the ability to an extra attack feature, that allows them to not only increase their DPR, but also allow them to use more of their maneuvers in a lot more situations than just hitting. And if they don't have any of their resource left, they could still fall back on it. This is actually in a video that Cybrock made a little bit ago about how they need a resource to expend in order to do fantastical things, but then they need something to fall back on, like how casters, they spend all of their spell slots to cast big spells, and then they have their cantrips to fall back on as a reliable, sustained damage source, but isn't going to be a high enough damage source to outclass their features that they really want to use. And as for the rogue is kind of tricky because as of right now, I can't really give any advice on what I would do with the rogue, as I'm currently finishing up the monk, reworking the barbarian and the fighter at the same time. So the rogue's kind of taking a back burner right now. But I'm going to tie it into like a combo system that rewards rogues for being an optimal character. That's the thing that I think you would take away from the extra attack feature in this video, is reward the marshals for being optimal. Don't punish them for being suboptimal, but reward optimal play and optimal builds. So what I plan to do with the rogue, and instead of giving them extra attack, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a combo system where the rogue starts with a bonus to hit from a fighting style. So they get to pick a fighting style, and then on top of that, they'll gain a bonus to their attack rolls based on an arbitrary number. I haven't decided yet. But then after they hit, they can choose to take a penalty to their next attack or they could take a penalty and make another attack. And if they hit, they can take another penalty and attack again. And basically they can keep this going until they stop hitting. And eventually that will build the combo to a maximum. And then once they build the combo to a certain point, they're able to use their maneuvers based on how high their combo is without expending it. But yeah, extra attack feature in general, I think it's a fine idea, but it's executed very poorly in 5th edition. And from the amount of research that I've done into the minor amounts of research I've done into 4th edition with my one experience with it, and with the lot of reading I've done with 3.5 and Pathfinder 2nd and Pathfinder 1st, it's very evident that the extra attack feature is kind of ingrained in a way, but you can make it better. You can make the extra attack feature not just, you can make an additional attack. You can make it more interesting. That's my little, thank you for coming to my nerd talk. Just keep that in mind next time you're reworking or working on some martial classes. Try not to give them just a blatant extra attack. Try to give them something more in theme with the class.